I tell her I love her. The silencer makes a whisper of the gunshot. I hold her close until she's gone. I'll never know what she was running from. I'll cash her check in the morning.
What's going on, bud smokers and movie lovers, and welcome to another episode of 5 on It. I think you guys know what we do here. We smoke doobies, but most importantly, we review movies. We are your hosts. I am Francisco. He is Sir Fraser. And on today's episode, we are joined by a third co-host. We are joined by the homie Donnie A. Baby.
Donnie Chocolate in the building.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the podcast.
You know, they smoking on the doobies. I'm smoking on the stogies.
That grown man stick.
And I might eat some hokies. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying, you know what I'm saying?
Busting them bars real quick. But on today's episode, we are reviewing, I think, is a very underrated film, a movie that is not talked about quite enough, especially in the comic book genre. We are talking about Sin City. But before we dive into that, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment, do all that stuff with your fellow bud smokers and movie lovers. Sir Fraser, tell the people what you're smoking on.
Man, we are back at it again with the Doogie Blunts, man. We're smoking on some of the Gelato Biscotti. A little bit of hybrid, man. These blunts have been getting us where we need to go, man. Definitely a big fan.
God damn.
Easy does it. We're just getting started. Man, so man, you know what? This movie is this is a lot of fun, man. So just for context for y'all who just let you know how we kind of got to this movie. So we decided to review this one because it's November, Noirvember, as some folks call it, which I didn't know about this until this month. But Noirvember, it's an opportunity to celebrate the genre of noir, and this movie is definitely a really fun take on a neo noir, on the genre of noir. So just for those of you who haven't had a chance to see this movie, the summary is an exploration of the dark and miserable Basin City and 3 of its residents, all of whom are caught up in violent corruption. So this movie is directed by Robert Rodriguez and Frank Miller, based off of the Frank Miller comic strips. Funny note, Quentin Tarantino actually directed the drive to the pit scene with Dwight and the body of Jack Rafferty, played by Benicio del Toro.
Yeah.
And he was paid $1.
Really?
Yeah. I read.
Just wanted to get off.
Yeah, cool. Because I guess Tarantino had Rodriguez direct the scene and paid him $1. And so Rodriguez repaid the favor. And I guess Tarantino wanted to see what it would be like to record with digital as opposed to his traditional shooting style.
Yeah.
So that was also an incentive for him as well.
I wonder, did they do this before? I can't remember when they remember Death Proof, and remember Quentin and Rodriguez released that little double feature.
Mm-hmm.
It was Death Proof and what was the other one? Planet Terror.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if Sin City came first, or did they work on that originally?
Sin City was in 2005. What? I'm not sure what year those were.
I don't even remember those.
I never saw them, but I remember them.
I remember the names, but
Kurt Russell was in it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Death Proof, I think, is a bit underrated for a Tarantino movie. I think it's rated on the lower end when you look it up. But that first fucking car chase, or the first death scene in that movie, is fucking out of control. It's fucking wild. But yeah.
So with this movie, starring Jessica Alba, Benicio del Toro, Clive Owen, Mickey Rourke, Bruce Willis, and Elijah Wood.
It got him a little bit hung up.
The words might have got to him on that Elijah Wood.
It's that gelato. Yo, so you know what's funny? So I was reading about like the casting behind this. Johnny Depp was the top choice to play Jackie Boy, but he ended up passing on it. I could totally see that. I think Benicio del Toro killed it, but I could totally see Johnny Depp in that role. And DiCaprio he turned down the role of Junior Rourke, and Michael Douglas was offered the role of Hardigan. I can't really see that though. I ain't gonna lie. I think Bruce Willis nailed this.
I can see Michael Douglas, but I think Bruce Willis, the one, he really nailed it. And matter of fact, that's one of the things that struck me first.
Mm-hmm.
Reading the names and seeing, I forgot Bruce Willis was even in this, but also seeing Michael Clark Duncan and Brittany Murphy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, rest in peace to them. And I know, I don't know if y'all are up on Bruce Willis at all, but I remember a couple years ago, me and my wife, unfortunately, was just like dogging him. Man, we saw this one movie and he's like, no emotion, no nothing. And then we found out that he actually had a condition, so we felt like shit.
Yeah.
Like dogging him. But to see him, to see him like at his prime kinda is like, it's really cool.
Oh yeah.
He's had a long career.
Yeah.
That was just one thing that you notice with this movie is the ensemble cast. I mean, Bruce Willis, Mickey Rourke, and like Jessica Alba. Those are just, you're scratching the surface with the characters that's in this movie. I mean, because you come across Rosario Dawson and Nick Stahl's obviously in it, Jamie King, Josh Hartnett has like a very small role.
Yeah,
but every time
Michael Madsen,
dude, Josh Hartnett has definitely had a little renaissance recently, being in the Oppenheimer film.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't really like Trap too much in it, his performance in that movie was very good.
Okay.
But seeing him pop up in this movie, that's a character who I totally forgot was in this.
Yeah.
And he's like right at the beginning too.
Yeah.
He's just right at the beginning and right at the end.
Yeah, I like that. I like the way that they kind of set up like the prologue and I guess like the epilogue of this with it kind of gives you a glimpse of just like the city. Like you have this hitman who's just taking out this woman. Like you have no context. Like, oh, like does he know this woman? Like, there's like this romantic vibe, and then he plugs her. And not the way she wants, you know what I'm saying? Like,
dude, and after like as soon as like the movie starts, you're like given like the fantastic visuals of like how it's going to be, which I think is just like, which I want to talk about with how underrated it is. When you look at the graphic novel and how it gets brought to life, especially like just in the opening credits, is showing you every person that's like, not every person, but a large number of the cast that's in it, and just what their character actually looks like in the comic book or in the graphic novel, whatever.
Yeah.
Dude, it visually just looks so good.
Yeah.
Like how they use the lighting, the shadows, then they put in just like the certain amounts of color, whether it's the blonde hair, the
red bars, the red Chuck Taylors.
Yeah.
Like, I love the use of
like,
color.
is Clive Owen the blood? Like,
Now, why are they showing these red chucks?
Yeah. No,
Why aren't they blue?
Still brazy.
I think that's that was one of the things that delighted me watching this again, like 20 years later almost, was that like it aged really well as far as visually. Like, you see that scene in The Matrix, and when he do like the little behind the back, and now that looks like trash.
Yeah.
But going back to this, and
It does age well.
and because they were like chasing style and like a certain presentation, rather than something that was like the most realistic. It just aged really well, and that style just is really cool.
Well, they going for that certain aesthetic of just trying to rip it straight off a comic strip, making it look like a comic book movie gets brought to life. I don't think it'll ever like de-age itself, honestly. Like, because it's been this long and it's like still looks really good because it's just like it's going for a certain look, and just the way they're playing with everything. I saw some behind the scenes stuff, and a lot of it's on green screen. I mean, the only scene I think they mentioned that was shot on a live set or like with a lot of people was it was like the bar scene,
The Cadius,
Everything else is like strictly green screen, so they can just put in every background, all like the shadows, all like the lighting. They can play with that however they want to. And so like with that, I just don't know if this will ever age out because it looks so different than any other. I mean, they did a sequel that didn't really like. I mean, I don't really fuck with that one too much because I don't think the stories really hold up as well as this one. But rewatching this, man, I still had a blast with it.
Yeah. Well, to your point though, I mean, it is interesting to think about that. Like this movie has aged very well despite using. I mean, this movie is powered by green screen. I mean, I read that there were only 4 practical sets that were built for this. So one was Katie's, Hardigan's jail cell, Shelley's apartment, and the hospital scene at the end. Everything else was shot on green screen. I actually also read that there's a special edition of the DVD where you can actually see the entire movie just with the green screen to like can kind of contrast like what it would look like. Yeah,
That's interesting.
And you know what's funny too, because so Donnell and I lived together in college, and you had this movie on
we
DVD. We used to watch the hell out of shit. It's such a fun movie.
Yeah.
I have my issues with it, but I mean, you know, and you also have to appreciate just like some of the challenges of like, because this movie is so bloody, one of the challenges they faced was making the blood appear white. So the typical fake blood wouldn't work.
At moments, the blood was red.
True, but that was only for specific characters, and that was also a choice, because without the color of red, Rodriguez said that it looked like they just had mud on their face, so it didn't land the same from like a visual perspective. But because they couldn't use the regular fake blood, what they did to get that really stark contrast with the black and white aesthetic of the movie, they used fluorescent red liquid and bathed it in black light, and then in the post-production they were able to turn the blood white. But yeah, because like that was actually a challenge for them trying to record it to get that contrast right. So they had to kind of like find a workaround, basically.
Well, that's why like when you watch it, I'm sure not everybody's like this, but I could watch something like that where it's just like all behind the scenes showing you how everything's filmed and stuff, because they're not trying to make everything look real. They're definitely going for something that's exaggerated and all that type of stuff. But seeing the behind the scenes and just what they have to do to make things appear the way they are, I think that would be really interesting to look at.
Yeah,
I say give me like the 30-minute like behind the scenes. I ain't gonna watch a whole full movie.
no,
It's not you don't, because this movie is still pretty long. It's over 2 hours. So like watching a whole movie like that will be a little much, and something that would be like a 15-20 minute just like sped up, like that would definitely be more in our lane.
Yeah.
But, still pretty sick.
Yeah.
So storyline wise, man, where y'all want to jump in? Because we talked a little bit about like the epilogue with Josh Hart's character, where he
Josh
Hartnett, my bad. Where he plays, the hitman. Then we jump right into like the yellow bastard. Which y'all like? Yeah, which one else? I'm gonna lie, the yellow bastard. That was my least favorite of the storylines.
It was?
Yeah, bro. I think the big fat kill was my favorite, the hard goodbye, and then it was the...
Because you got pretty much Bruce, you got like, 3 stories that's kind of interviewed.
Yeah, I think of like Hardigan, Marv, and what was Clive? What was his name?
Dwight.
Yeah. Right? Like, I kind of think, I look at him in that terms. But the yellow bastard makes sense.
Man, yeah, I think about it as like Marv, Bruce Willis's character, and Clive Owen's character. So like they're the leads in those overarching.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. That's the name of it. I guess that was like the storyline.
Which one is the
hard goodbye was the Dwight? Was the Marv one, and then the big fat kill was the Dwight story.
Okay,
but the yellow bastard, that was the title for the Hardigan story, and the girl.
Yeah, I would have to go with honestly the Yellow Bastard storyline is probably my least favorite. Of the 3. Nothing against the story with like Bruce Willis and like the Jessica Alba thing. I mean, it is a little weird when they start digging into my minutiae of that storyline. Hardigan, what are you doing, brother?
Digging is a good way to put it, I guess.
What are you diddying around with that girl, brother?
Diddling over there. I mean, he tried to resist, but human nature can only do so much.
Yeah, but then he comes back and he sees Jessica Alba. You're like, man.
No, what did he say? He said, I wrote this shit down. She said she grew up and filled out.
You're gonna give yourself a heart attack, Hardigan.
You're gonna need your pills, buddy.
She grew up and filled out.
Like, god damn, bro.
No, man, that shit was funny. I think his might be my least favorite, but I feel like his narration was my favorite of all the movies. I mean, of all the stories. Like throughout that, I felt like I was drawn in to his narration the most. Everyone else had good narration. The narration is like a major piece of this.
Yeah,
but
it's very noir-like too. You know, you hear the voiceover, the internal narrator.
Yeah, so his narration was like my favorite character's narration.
Okay, fair enough. But actually, hold up. So I'm trying to think. Do they actually?
She grew up in Fill Out, bro. Like
Yo, but hold up though. One of my favorite lines though is after I think after Marv has killed someone and he's like driving and he's trying to take his piece of pills. He's like, I've been having so much fun. I forgot to take my medicine. And he's like wiping his eyes. The pills are falling.
It's my own fault, nobody else's, that I got confused. I've been having so much fun, I forgot to take my medicine. That wasn't Goldie back there. Goldie's dead. And that's the whole reason that I've been doing what I've been doing. When you got a condition, it's bad to forget your medicine.
He's like pouring them into his mouth. They're falling out of his mouth. Yo, that's one of the funniest scenes in that movie.
He was like, I haven't taken my pills or eaten anything in days. I was like, ain't it been like one night? Like,
well, I mean, that shows you like that hints at like the fact that he's not a reliable narrator. And so you're also at times like kind of wondering like, okay, is he having some kind of episode?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, when he got busy on fucking Elijah fucking Wood's character, I was like, oh my god.
Wait a minute, let's take a step back because I think because you said something when it came to like his sense of reality. Mm-hmm. So like the Goldie thing, I remember like initially watching this and seeing quote unquote Goldie again when it's actually her twin sister Wendy. Mm-hmm. That kind of played into his reality. Yeah, like, and then I mean, homie is Superman. Like, he got shot in the head, and then like all of a sudden he woke up and he tied up on a chair.
Here's the sign. There's one damn fine cook you were.
That dude survived the fucking death penalty.
You get a move on, I haven't got all night.
You heard the man. Hit it.
Is that the best you can do, you pansies?
He got electrocuted.
So you got pansies.
I know. Spitting up all that blood and shit. It's like, god damn, this dude can survive anything.
Yeah, he was
a gladiator.
Straight up like smart. Double chest kicking the windshields. And,
yo, yeah. When he like jumps on top and fucking puts his drop kicks the windshield, I was just like, my god, man.
It was a superhero movie.
If I was the policeman, I'd have been like, I hit him with that line from The Professional. Bring me everyone. I mean everybody. God damn it! This motherfucker,
bro. That's why
you see his forehead. This man's a mutant.
That's why Mickey Rourke is the perfect dude to play Marv. I don't know who'd you say was in the running to play him, or who was going to be originally him.
Who was in the run for him? I didn't mention anybody for him.
You didn't mention him?
I can't even think. Who else? I mean, Stallone, maybe?
Yeah, Stallone.
At that point in his career, I could definitely see maybe somebody like Stallone.
I was thinking Arnold, but it's like...
He might have been too old
accent.
at that point. The accent, too.
Mickey Rourke was...
Mickey Rourke still has an accent in this.
Yeah.
2005?
He still was old. Him and Arnold about the same age.
Well, I was going to say, like, him and... That's why I said, like, him and Stallone. I think Stallone could have pulled it because they're around the same age, no?
Probably.
Stallone might be a little bit younger, actually. I'm not sure.
I don't know. They old.
But
how tall is Mickey Rourke though?
Taller than Stallone.
Isn't Stallone kind of short on the shorter side?
Well, when he was standing next to,
you could film it in tricks and stuff like that.
Well, when Mickey Rourke was standing beside his PO officer, which oh my god, let's talk about that. His PO was amazing.
Yeah, put me on the roll.
Yeah, for real. But when he was standing beside her, he didn't look like he was super tall. Nah, maybe he's like 5'11".
But she could be tall too, though.
Okay. 5'11".
Okay, I was thinking, huh?
Yeah.
She could be tall. I mean, I was just giving the benefit of the doubt, like maybe she's 5'8".
Something
which
like
isn't
that.
tall for a woman.
I
For
thought like
fine,
maybe he was
you know?
like 6'2" or 6'3" or something like that. Maybe
No, she would have had to be tall.
imposing figure or something like that.
Yeah. But going back to what you were saying, you were talking about the narration.
Yes.
I don't know that I think he's the. I wonder, did he have the most lines as far as like the narration went?
I
Like
feel
when
like
we hear his internal thoughts, because I feel like we got it seemed like we got maybe a little bit more of that from him than Dwight or Marv.
yeah, I think I think his character was less action oriented. Even though things were happening, he wouldn't drop kicking no windshields. He wouldn't, holding razor blades to people's faces and jumping out of buildings and landing on the grass perfectly or nothing like that. So like I think that's why maybe they did that on purpose. The narration sticks out.
Got him too.
Attack. But no, the narration sticks out because he wasn't doing a whole bunch of jumping and crushing and none of that stuff. He was just cared about the girl.
Yeah, we also had a lot of solo time with him, especially when he's in the prison cell.
Practically knocked my head off, the bastard. When I come to, I see it. The same kind of envelope Nancy always uses. But there's no letter inside of it. Something soft. Something that ought to be alive. A hunk of meat and bone that ought to be the index finger of the right hand of a 19-year-old girl. How the hell did they find her? She was so careful. She never gave away where she lives or where she works.
When he's in the
Yep.
even when he's in the especially when he's in the prison cell. Whereas with Marv, like I think we get a lot more sense of Marv's character compared to the other three main characters. Because we see him in a lot of different environments and he interacts with a lot of different people across the Sin City.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So like I feel like we got a little bit more glimpse of his character.
Yeah. Because Marv was actually like he was in the field. He was
out there.
like he was
out there getting his hands dirty.
Ugh.
He took matters into his own hands, literally.
Bro, that scene where he's driving, I don't know about you, but I'm having a ball and he's dragging. I was like,
Bro,
what?
I just love, like, honestly, that's why he's my favorite character in this. Quick thing about what you mentioned about the narration with Bruce Willis's character. I mean, I think that's why, even though there are three stories, I think he's got like he's the overarching like lead of the whole movie if you have to select one. So I think that's why probably
Bruce Willis?
Yeah. That's why he's given the most like narration, most like even like layers to his character. But with Marv, like with that scene, dude, I love his like even just the way he talks and everything. Just like even the way like how when he's listing off like the weapons and stuff, and he's just like, and I got my mitts.
I love it.
Rubber tubing, gas, saw, gloves, cuffs, razor wire, hatchet, ladders, and my mitts.
Like even the way he's saying like I'm having a ball. Like, the way he just delivers his lines with so much force, bro. Marv is a fucking blast.
I think that's why he's one of my favorites though, because he felt like the most free.
Mm-hmm.
Like if that makes any sense. Like he was just in his element, and he was just like, I'm a savage. This is what I do. Oh, look, I have the perfect opportunity to be a savage for all the right reasons.
Well, he shows that I think in like when he's talking to his PO.
I haven't seen you like this in a while.
Had a fight with some cops.
Didn't happen to kill any of them, did you?
Not that I know of, but they know they've been in a fight, that's for damn sure.
How the hell do you suppose I'm gonna square this with the board?
There ain't no squaring it, not this time. This isn't some barroom brawl. Or some creep with a gas can trying to torch someone. Oh, hey, this is big.
Settle down, Marv. Take another pill.
Hey, there ain't no settling down. This is blood for blood and by the gallons. This is the old days, man, the bad days, the all or nothing days. They're back. There's no choices left. And I'm ready for war.
That's a great line in the bathroom.
Yeah, when he's like, it's like the old days out here. The nothing days. Exactly. And so I think that's when he's just showing you it's like, oh, he just doesn't give a fuck.
I'm like, with these three stories, I don't want to see the old days. Goddamn. Like,
Well, yeah, for real. Hookers out here getting bodied. Like,
yes.
People getting beheaded. Like, what in the hell?
People getting.
Let me tell you something. I'm leaving Sin City.
I mean, it's called Sin City. So
Let me tell you something. These aren't the good sins. These are the I'm running from these sins.
No, but
But
I stopped you. But
something I wanted to say, because you brought something up about Marv's character specifically, and I think you see him living free in such a way because he has something that he's never had before, purpose, and he says that.
Yes,
she gave me something that I didn't know I had. He said, "Hell is waking up every damn day and not knowing why you're here."
Let me tell you, the love of a woman.
That goes back to the strength of his character.
Yeah,
the way that he was written. You know,
the love of a woman,
and that was his driving force.
Yep.
You do for love.
That's what made him invincible.
Yep.
We can all be invincible with the love of a good woman.
I think he was juicing. PEDs.
Yeah. That's what them pills was.
Dude, and he just started.
That was that test.
That's what them pills really were.
Dude, but like you mentioned, when you liked it when he started fucking up Elijah Wood's character. That's definitely one of the highlights for me.
Yep.
Dude, he's like taking a fucking beating, and I mean Elijah Wood's a perfect cast. The way he's got that
creepy as fuck,
creepy as fuck face, and like even like the little smirks, like what he's doing when they like, and he watched, dude, like when they cut back to him, and he's just like. Dude, they come back to him and he's just kind of like taking it all in and shit. I was like, oh my god.
In that line right there, or not the line, but like mentioning like Elijah Wood's character, Kevin was his name. Just like the visual aspect of when he first sneaks up on Marv, and all you see is his eyes. You see his silhouette, and you see his eyes perfectly like light lit up. That was the
lighting,
a great technique and creepy as hell.
The lighting in this was so great. I mean, especially with the special effects. I love the shots of Kevin where all we see is the reflection of his shades. Mm-hmm. Those were really powerful, and those were really powerful shots, but also it just really enhanced like the kind of mystique of that character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for real, because he was supposed to be like that, the stealthy one.
Well, because like it showed, like up to this point, Marv is seen as like an unstoppable force. As the saying goes, the unstoppable force meets the immovable object, and so this is like I think a visual representation of that because Marv is just such a force to the movie. Then all of a sudden he's met with this fucking creep that's fucking motherfuckers up, and he fucks Marv up too. But eventually he gets the upper hand on him, and as soon as he does, and he just spits out the blood, and he's like.
I got you, you little bastard. Let's see you hop around now. I try to slow my heart down and breathe the fire out of my lungs. My muscles make me 1,000 promises of pain to come.
Let me do it, Marv. She was my sister. Let me finish him.
You wasn't supposed to come down here, Wendy.
Oh, but I want to.
I'm sorry, kid, but I haven't even started with this creep.
Now I got my hands on you.
He's into the beast. He's like, okay, with my ass, I just need to get close to you.
I can take it.
Over.
Yeah.
Like I said, whatever punishment you got you.
Yeah. But and as soon as you can't move, bro, it was a wrap for his ass.
Oh, you see it? This motherfucker's unconscious.
It's just like, all his limbs gone, and he's like,
still staring.
I ain't gonna do nothing. I'm gonna wait for your dog. I'm gonna wait for your wolf to come through and finish the rest.
Dude, he said that he didn't even make a sound too.
Man,
when he was doing the whole thing, it's like, bro, like you said, it just played.
Hell,
I'm
gonna be singing. Help me, the karaoke king. Somebody help me.
Help me.
That was the theme because homegirl Jessica Alba, she didn't scream either.
Oh yeah.
I'm screaming, bro. As soon as I see that saw, I'm screaming.
I was like, Toby was screaming. I don't know why Jessica Alba wasn't screaming because she wasn't getting last right. I guess I don't know.
Hey, she wanted to listen to Bruce Hardigan.
Yeah, that whole storyline. I even like the way that it ended, right? That close up where we get the eye we see in Marv's eye as he's dead, and it's really like the opening shot, one of the opening shots we got of his story.
Yeah,
which him and Goldie in bed.
Yep.
I thought it was a really great way to end it. One thing I did want to say, something that I loved with the way that they shot this movie, is when we see the wolf feasting on Kevin. We see like this kind of black and white, like one-dimensional shot of the wolf eating him. And we see that again, right, when Dwight is in the tar pit and he submerges, and Miho reaches down and pulls him up. Like, that's another example in those shots.
Yeah.
I love when they did those kinds of, when they kind of would throw that in. It just felt really effective, but still fun.
Dude, there's so many shots like you could literally just like pause, make a poster of it, and I could throw it on the wall somewhere. Especially just like when Clive Owen is just outside the windowsill and with the red chucks on, with rain and everything. That's a great bit. Or even any visual where Benicio del Toro's character's got the gun in his head and he's just like having that interaction with Dwight. You got me smoking.
It's got you smoking there, bud.
You shut the hell up, Jackie boy. You're dead. I'm just imagining this, so shut the hell up.
Those hookers let you down. What are you gonna do when you run out of gas? Call
AAA.
Yo, that's one of my highlights. I love when he's like, those hookers let you down. What are you going to do?
First time.
Call AAA? Yo, and when his head goes back and you see the fucking slit from Miho's sword,
Like his and I think that scene was awesome just because of even the vocal change, you know what I'm saying? Every time he leaned back and his voice was open, you hear the whisper or raspiness because you get the same air. And that was legit.
Bro, that's why I love Benicio del Toro. Like,
he kills it in this movie.
Dude, anytime I see him in a role, shout out Sicario, I'm definitely gonna check
They
it
come
out.
in with another one.
A third one?
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's what I saw.
I didn't know that. I haven't seen the second one. I mean, the first one's amazing.
I'm talking about, but you know what I'm saying?
Bro,
He's checking your sources.
that contact weed.
Check your sources, okay? Don't take my word.
But the story with Dwight, that's definitely that's easily the second best. I mean, in the three, and then once you get introduced to Rosario Dawson and some of the girls too, that's a nice little highlight as well.
Rosario,
just want to throw a little flowers her way.
For real. Seeing that again reminded me of who she was.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'll leave it at that.
Dude, I loved her in fucking He Got Game.
But look, I know.
I always forget that's her. He Got Game.
Oh yeah.
I liked her in
There's some very memorable
Clerks
scenes
2.
in that movie.
Oh, yeah.
She was getting busy. Was it that Ferris wheel? I think was it. Was that her in that one?
That ain't the only scene I'm talking about, but yeah.
Well, I mean, there's more, but I mean,
No, I think that was my second favorite as well. Marvin's first, my favorite storyline, but the Big Kill was my second favorite.
Definitely.
But I didn't like Clive Owen's character.
the character himself,
He was boring.
He was.
Yeah, that's why he was.
He wasn't. Yeah, I mean, Marv is by far, I think, the best character for me in this movie. He's just so much fun to be around.
Yep.
Whereas this one, yeah, he was a little flat compared to the other two. I agree.
Yeah.
But but you know what though? Like, I still really love the storyline though. It's so much fun.
It was. I mean,
surrounding it was the other characters.
It was the prostitutes, if you will, that really made it, and not just because of their looks though. Because
Miho was
like,
dude, all the visuals were like in that storyline was like top notch. Even like when they go down the road. I mean, totally forgot about Michael Clark Duncan. I forgot the name of his character. But like when they go down that road and then you see all the fucking hookers start popping up, and then fucking they start lighting his ass up. That's a great visual.
Really good.
Oh yeah,
really good. No, that's definitely, the prostitutes and the way they kind of like took over. So that was one thing I noticed about that story is that like the other stories were all damsel in distress.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. I was like, dang, changed a lot in 20 years. I was like, these women are like. They paint the characters so weak. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. That's what I noticed, and I think that's why this is one of my favorites. It's just because like the story was less centered on one person, where it might fall a little flat when it comes to Hardigan, Bruce Willis' character. Like it didn't matter if that fell flat with Clive Owen because everybody else kind of
pick up the slack.
I agree. Like you said, Miho she might have been the baddest ass in the. Second to Marv, but
second to Marv. Yo, I ain't gonna lie though. Kevin was also pretty lethal. I got to give it to him. That motherfucker was hella lethal.
Kevin was,
Miho versus Kevin.
But I feel like Miho got that though.
Miho, because the sword, he's gonna have to get closer, and that sword helps her out.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, Kevin got moves, but I don't know. Maybe it's just I want Miho. Man. I'm rooting for Miho.
Yeah, for real.
It'll probably be one of those things where like she ends up slicing him in half, but then she ends up walking away, and then she just falls over.
Right.
Like he just barely got her with those long ass nails.
Man, for real. Yeah, I definitely agree with you guys on that one. I think that the Yellow Bastard storyline or the Hardigan storyline. I'm trying to think like where
the Yellow Bastard though as a character.
Visually, it was great. I like the
visually was great, and I think. Well, I mean, I was really thinking about. I started breaking this shit down philosophically, right? Because I was thinking about Sin City as a whole, but I was thinking about like the corruption and how they used essentially two sons, right? Two sons of powerful people, who was the cardinal and the senator, Senator Rourke, right? And they were able to literally run amok. Right? And everybody was in on it. The cardinal was in on it. The senator was in it. The police were in on it. They knew not to go to the farm. And that to me was kind of like striking when it came to the villains and specifically the Yellow Bastard, because like they were monstrous, not just in like looks and what they did, but they were just monstrous as far as like just the ability created.
Like the power they have.
Yeah, that was crazy.
When you're controlling church and state, I figure you can pretty much control a lot. So,
well, that's something I do want to say. I thought the casting of Powers Booth, who was also in Tombstone, we were talking about that off camera. He's in that. He plays Senator Rourke, and he looks like a fucking villain when he's over the bed talking to Hardigan after he's recovering. And you could just tell, like, he just felt like this evil fucking. I was like, yeah, this looks like somebody fucking appointed to Trump's cabinet right here. Motherfucker looks villainous.
Like, damn well this motherfucker's up to Look at his background, man. What the fuck is he, bro?
I want a thorough background check. This motherfucker is grimy looking.
He's got that power mustache, though. I'll give him that.
He played, like, he owns his scenes in this movie. But what was I gonna say about the Yellow Bastard though?
Stinks.
So two of my favorite characters in this were actually kind of peripheral characters, but Douglas Clump and Bert Schlub, the two thugs for hire.
Oh my god!
When they come into the fucking room where after Hardigan's been strung up by his neck by the Yellow Bastard, and they walk in and they don't see him hanging. One of them guys says, "I can only express puzzlement that borders on alarm." Funny ass lines like that, where I'm just like, it grounds me in the moment, but it's so funny. And then they always get fucked up. But I'm trying to think, like, what were some of the standout parts for the Yellow Bastard storyline for you guys?
Like I said, visually,
mostly visually,
and it was interesting seeing his development, because that's how they start off the movie, right? And you see him as like a regular human, and kind of like, he's in this position where, he gets fucked up because he's trying to kidnap and rape a little girl, right? Murder them. But like the fact that his father went through such lengths to restore his ability to keep raping girls was crazy. But visually, like, I don't know, I still haven't seen anything like that stylistically.
Visually, like
the yellow, right? The blood, the yellow blood, his yellow skin, like visually, I don't know what can compare to that.
Yeah. In this movie?
No, in anything since. I mean, and of course there's other good visual movies, shows, and different things like that, but
I mean, I think that's what kind of plays into what we were mentioning earlier, how just like how like it doesn't like it can just like transcend, I don't say transcend time, but like it won't get old or anything like that. You can watch this still 10 years from now, 20 years from now, and I still think it will hold up.
I gotta say, man, from a visual standpoint, in terms of like the aesthetic of like building a character and like making you feel like that character is like real, like how what works, what lands with you about the use of yellow for that?
I mean, the graphics kind of take me out of that realisticness. So that's one of my things about the movie, that sometimes it's so over the top, it pulls me away, right? Like, because I think for most of the movie, especially, again, I have to credit the narration, and the use of shadow and different things like that when it comes to film noir. So like it would have a realistic feeling to it, right? Outside of Marv and his shenanigans, but like when they, I don't know, there was a scene, Brittany Murphy, she was like, what'd she say? She was like, it panned to her and it was a close up and she has the knife and she was like, say something again and I'll cut off your pecker or whatever it was. And I was like, okay, like that's next level. You know what I'm saying?
know exactly what you're talking about.
Like, and so like there's just moments in the movie that kind of like veered towards away from like a story that makes sense, a story that feels like it's noir, right? And in little moments like that, not completely, but there's little moments like that where it's just like,
Yeah. I mean, well, I guess to piggyback off of that, do you have any? We've talked about quite a bit about like some of our highlights. You have any negatives?
I was just about to ask that.
I know it's top of your mind.
I know one of my negatives is like one of the funniest shits to me. It was in the big kill, and Benicio del Toro was riding up next to like the young prostitute or whatever. Motherfucker had his head and both hands out of the car. I was like, "Is this my fucking ghost?" Like, I think it was slow. I was like, come on. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, hands. Like, oh, man, that's crazy.
He's got his homie just leaning over this guy, and he's like, "Bro, just don't step on the pedal too hard, man. Just idle it a little bit. Pop that shit in neutral."
That's all.
But honestly, like, I don't have any like standout negatives. I mean, besides that, I mean, like I said, the Yellow Bastard storyline is like falls like definitely on like on the lower end, just because the Marv storyline is like so high. It's like it almost like just dips a little bit. That one is like so good, and then Dwight's storyline, it's solid, it's okay, and then the Yellow Bastard storyline gets a little bit lower too. Like it doesn't hold up. Like I wish all three was just equally as good as the Marv storyline.
Yeah.
So as far as like that is a little bit on the negative side. Like I wish all three stories was as equally as good. But honestly, I mean, that's just, I'm not gonna say that's been being nitpicky or anything like that, but that's maybe like the only true standout for me as far as like negatives. Because I enjoy a lot of this movie as far as like the action about it. I love just like visually speaking, like how we've already touched on that. It's a great cast. It holds up very well even after almost 20. I think it's at 2005.
Yeah,
so 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't have like too many standout or too many negatives to say about it. Besides, I wish all three storylines was equally as good as the Marv storyline.
I got a negative, but Bryce, you got something?
Yeah, I mean, just to piggyback off of that, man, I think this is a really fun anthology movie. I think it's one of those movies that I can rewatch a lot. I think the triumph of this movie is really just like visually how they were able to translate the comic book to the big screen. Yeah. And I'm really glad that Frank Miller was co-directing this and a part of that project, because I think he obviously had a very clear vision of what this world looks like, and I think that was a really successful marriage in what they were able to create from a visual storytelling point. But I guess a question that I have for you, and I completely agree. I think one of my big knock against this is that the stories decline in quality as the movie goes on.
Yeah,
like I think the first full story which is Marv, that to me is the best one. Then second, I would agree with you. I think the second one is probably the next best story, and then of course like the Yellow Bastard, that would just kind of fell a little bit for me. But from a visual, as far as like a a movie that's taking a comic book or graphic novel and translating it to the big screen. Do you think that this movie is one of the best examples of that, or the best example?
I think probably between this, I think you got to throw Watchmen in that area as well. Because I think, straight ripping it from like how you see it on like a comic book and how you see it on the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say like this one and like Watchmen is up there as well. Yeah.
I'll have to rewatch Watchmen. But I feel like yeah, it's definitely up there at the top, if not the top. Yeah. The movie that comes to mind, and like as far as like trying to create that comic book feel, is like it's like one of the first Hulks, the one with Eric Bana, the one that everybody hated, right?
Damn.
Like they literally had the split screens and different things like that. They did like the boom bows, like old school Batman and stuff like that. And so like it didn't land at all. I don't feel like, even when I was watching it back then, it didn't land. And to compare that to this, like it doesn't hold a candle at all.
You know a quick movie that just popped in my mind is Scott Pilgrim.
That's what I was gonna say. To me, I think Scott Pilgrim versus the World might have the edge over this because they also don't use nearly as much green screen. Yeah. And it's still super effective and fun. Yeah. And I feel like that world is pretty expansive, and like the fighting dynamic gives you a lot of action as well. Yeah. Very rewatchable.
Yeah. We actually did We actually did this review a while back.
That movie's so fucking fun.
Yeah, we can't use it because we fucked up the audio somehow. But
it was an earlier effort.
Yeah. It was a great episode too.
Get the reps in.
That's such a great movie. A lot of the positives about Sin City can say about Scott Pilgrim as well. Yeah. As far as like the visuals, the ensemble cast.
I'm talking to you, Scott Pilgrim.
Dude, Chris Evans' character is a good villain.
So when it comes to Scott Pilgrim was like, you have the character in a journey. That's one of my gripes about this movie. Like, it's kind of nitpicky, but I wish the stories were more cohesive. Yeah. I feel like you get a shot of the other characters, like at the bar or something, and it's random and it doesn't even really make sense. Mm-hmm. Like, they're not really intertwined at all. And I know it's not supposed to be, but my thing is like, if they're not supposed to be intertwined, what's the use of having a shot of, you know, Clive Owen like
they should have more interaction at that bar, maybe, because it's like, if that's going to be like the central hub of like where like the characters are going to be like, or the story's going to be like intertwined, right? Then maybe they should have more like have the characters intermingling a little bit more.
And it doesn't. I don't think it needs to be Crash, right, or anything like that. Yeah. Like as far as intertwined, but just like it kind of like, it's like, if you're gonna do it, do it. If you're not, don't do it then.
I can see that.
I can see what you're saying, but I also remember rewatching this movie, it didn't take me out of it. It's like, oh, okay, they're inhabiting the same world, the same bars, the same seedy side of Sin City. Yeah, you know, it was more like I just kind of took it in stride in that way. But I also can understand what you're saying. Like,
I built my understanding of Sin City through each of the stories individually, right? Mm-hmm. The characters that were in high places, the sons and the bastards, or whatever you want to call them, and the main like, you know, the female characters and all those things. Like, just because I saw them in a bar didn't really help me build that, really. Yeah, I don't know.
I can see that,
but to each his own.
Yeah. What about you, Fraser? You got any other negatives?
No, not really. I mean, I have far more positive things to say about this movie.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Great movie. I got a lot of positive too.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you wanted to highlight?
No, we kind of talked on. No, I mean, that's pretty much it, man. I think we can go ahead and pivot to scores. Man, you're the guest, man. What you got?
Want to lead us off?
Okay. All right, y'all. I don't know. I give this. It's out of 5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can use
2 halves.
I mean, we don't use
4.2.
4.2 or nothing like that.
No, I have to give this a 4. I have to give this a 4. I wanna edge it to 4.5. But I'm somewhere in between there. It's a solid movie. I think it has great rewatch value. I think it's a movie that's gonna stand the test of time. Like, it already has, right? 20 years. 20 years. We were watching it, and it still stands the test of time. So I feel like 4. I don't know. What y'all think?
Man, that's the exact same score that I was going to give it. I was leaning towards a 4.5, like you said, but after just thinking about it and how the stories, even though all three are enjoyable, nonetheless, they do, I don't want to say deteriorate, they do decline a little bit in quality after the Marv storyline. But this movie is just, I won't say endlessly rewatchable, but it's very rewatchable for me. I have a lot of enjoyment with it. Great cast. The visuals is just outstanding. We can't overstate it enough. It's been 20 years since the first got released, and it still holds up fantastic. I couldn't even like find, if you want to say like there's any gripes with the visuals, you have to be a goddamn expert in like that type of field, honestly, because it's damn near perfection for what they're going for. So yeah, 4 is exactly what I give it. What about you, Freya?
Man, we are all in agreement. This is a 4 for me. And I wouldn't even. I didn't even really think about a 4.5. I was pretty settled on the 4. I think this movie is very fun, very rewatchable. Visually, it's just such a great watch. I think that's probably maybe the best thing about this movie. And then you have some pretty strong storylines and some pretty, especially Marv, really likable character. Yeah, man, this is just a really fun action movie, noir action movie. It's I guess I pretty much in agreement with what you guys were saying as far as like my only cons with it, but it doesn't stop it from being pretty rewatchable. So yeah, man, those are our scores for this episode, man. Before we drop though, man, what are y'all high on lately? What movies, shows?
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
You can lead us off as well.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Cross. It's on Amazon Prime. Like it, somebody described it. I feel like it's sneakily the blackest show on television right now. Like I feel like
it should be on BT.
I don't know if like all the whites is gonna know like what the chili bowl is to Chocolate City, you know what I'm saying, and like just different areas and stuff like that. That even like some of them was putting me on. But the other part about that movie is actually my good friend Johnny Ray Gill plays a character and he is wilding. And so he was there's this hotel scene. He in his drawers. He doing the most, and he getting ready to kill somebody essentially. And I'm telling my wife like, yo, Johnny Ray, he put me on Nas and Jay-Z in high school. Like he was a senior, blah blah blah. She was like, him? She was looking upside my head like he was really that person. I was like, nah,
he's an actor. He's an actor.
Different, but the storyline is great. The acting is great. Check out Cross. You'll be happy.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been seeing that around. I've already saw like a trailer for it. That's definitely been on my radar. I think I saw because I was watching Ink Master on Paramount Plus, and so like I'll see a bunch of commercials for that. So
I was thinking Page Master.
Page Master.
Remember that Macaulay Culkin movie?
Oh no! What movie is that?
Like I was thinking Pacemaker.
Page Master.
I think that's what it's called.
No,
but
the Page Master.
I know exactly what you're talking about. That's like he's like riding his bike in the rain to like some like library or some shit.
Isn't
and then doesn't the movie turn animated at a certain point? Yeah. Or it's called
the Page Master.
Is that really what it's called?
Yeah.
No,
Peacekeeper. I don't know what the hell it's called.
Page Master, man.
God damn. That is a fucking deep cut memory, man.
Yeah.
Memory unlocked.
Yeah. Cisco, your official show was what again? I didn't forgot now.
Oh, what I'm high on?
Oh yeah. You was watching Ink Master. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Ink Master.
Yeah.
Yeah. That little tattoo show.
Yeah.
And they show Cross a bunch, like, like during commercials and all that shit, type of shit. So it's definitely been on my radar. So I'm going to be giving that a watch here pretty soon. Nice. Something that I'm high on is I just watched this movie called Queen Pins on Netflix. I just because I remember watching the trailer for this. This came out in 2021. And I remember watching the trailer for it and thought it looked pretty interesting because it's based on a true story. So anything based on a true story, I'm pretty much going to at least give it a shot. But I'll just like read it real quickly. It says the film was based on the story of Robin Ramirez, Amico Fountain, and Marilyn Johnson, who were arrested by the Phoenix police in 2012. The police found more than 25 million of fake coupons in Ramirez's house and seized more than $2 million worth of assets, including 22 firearms, 21 vehicles, and a 40-foot boat. So like she's like does like this like she runs like this little kind of scamish thing with like these like fake coupons, and she ends up like turning into like an empire, and she kind of makes all these little fuck ups along the way that gets her busted. And honestly, like I kind of forgot about the movie until I was just on Netflix, kind of like cruising around. And I really wasn't going to like watch it until I saw that Vince Vaughn was in it. And I'm like, ooh, Vince Vaughn. Mm-hmm. I usually like him. And it looked like he was in a funny role. He was more like a serious role. This only had like, you know, little sprinklings of his Vince Vaughnisms, you know. Yeah. But also like this other dude, Paul Walter Hauser, he was in it.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
Dude.
He's a funny dude.
This movie is low key actually like, it's not like, actually it does say it's a comedy. I wouldn't say it's like a standout comedy movie. It's not gonna like, you know, make you bust a gut or anything, but there's some funny ass moments. The interactions with Paul Walter Hauser character and Vince Vaughn's character, they're pretty much like the leading almost like detectives to like crack the case and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But this movie is pretty entertaining. Ben Stiller also looks like he served as a producer, which, you know, I give Ben Stiller credit in the comedy realm. I don't think he gets enough credit as well. But Queen Pins, if you're looking for something to watch on Netflix, check it out.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
It's pretty dope.
It's a movie or a series?
It's a movie.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna check that out for sure.
Man, for me, I'm high on The Piano Lesson. It's based off of Malcolm Washington, one of Denzel's sons, is directing it. John David is starring in it. Samuel Jackson's in it as well. It's actually Erykah Badu's in it. It's actually based off of an August Wilson play.
August Wilson.
Yeah, man.
We saw that.
Shout out to him. We saw Gem of the Ocean and Fences.
Oh yeah, you're right. Me and Bryce, we used to
hit up Ashland, man.
Yeah, the Ashland Shakespeare Festival, but they always did August Wilson plays too.
Yeah.
So that's when we back in the Eugene days.
Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to checking out that movie. It's kind of billed as an American horror drama, so I was like, all right.
I don't know if y'all. I'm sorry, this is random, but I don't know if y'all checked out Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
Oh yeah.
Chadwick Boseman's last one. That's another August Wilson play.
Oh, I've heard of that. I haven't seen it though.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that it was.
And Lisa's up in there. Viola Davis. Was
yeah. That's
a good movie.
That's a good cast to it too.
Yeah, it's very. Yeah, it definitely has a play vibe to it. You can. It makes sense that it was based off of a play.
It's good. Good to know that Chadwick's last work was some good shit. Though.
Yeah. It
would suck to go out on something that I was like, ooh, man.
Yeah.
You can't go out on 21 Bridges, bro.
Man.
Okay, no, 21 Bridges wasn't that bad.
At
least to me.
No, I mean, he makes it entertaining enough.
Yeah,
it's just not one of his better roles.
I was gonna say, man, that's on my radar, and also the Nosferatu, the vampire movie. Actually, I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah,
it looks good. Visually, it looks really good.
Who's
Willem Dafoe's in it.
Who's the filmmaker that's making that though?
Robert Eggers.
Yeah. Because he's like, I mean, kind of hit or miss, but like, because The Lighthouse, I haven't seen that, but I've heard like kind of mixed things. Like, it's like,
is it really working with that?
So some people say like, is it for you or not? But The Northman, I'll fuck with that movie. That movie was pretty good.
I heard The Witch was good, but I also have heard some mixed things, or read mixed things as well on that one.
But Nosferatu, this looks like something that's right up my alley. So I'm gonna give it this a look.
Like, I like the visuals of his movies, but like The Lighthouse, the visuals of it were dope, but I just couldn't get into that storyline. I was like, well, this shit is weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't mind some weird, like, Sorry to Bother You was fucking weird, but I still fuck with that movie. And then there's Lighthouse weird. I was like, this is already weird. This ain't for me.
That's a movie, Sorry to Bother You, where like they always show that interaction scene when they're like having that little
Yep.
They always show that shit.
That one took it to the next level.
Bro, that movie's wild.
I remember watching that and like liking it, and I was like, that movie was kind of pretty good. But I haven't seen that shit since.
Bro, see it again because the end is wild.
I have no idea how.
They're like injecting these like they're injecting these people with stuff that turns them into horses, like work horses.
Yeah,
and bruh, that turn was wild.
I was like, what?
I say, yo, who makes my weed?
Yeah. So, one more thing though, well, a good one too is Bad Monkey on.
Oh, yeah. I've heard about that.
You said Vince Vaughn, and like I just finished that one not too long ago. Great. It's like a cop investigation and comedy, of course, but it blends all like storyline great, blends it all well.
It's probably like kind of like how his character is in Queenpin's a bit, where it's like a little bit more serious, but it just has like his maybe like a little bit 40-50.
I wouldn't say it's more serious.
Oh, it's not?
But it's not as goofy as you've seen him.
Yeah.
You know, it's not Wedding Crashers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going for.
Well, man, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that Donnell also has a podcast.
Check us out.
Tell them where to check it out.
Yeah, me and my wife, we have a podcast called La Vida Blended, and that's where we're talking about relationships, everything relationships. Her and I are in an interracial relationship, specifically Latina and Black, and we talk about those things. We talk about loss. Our last episode was about loss and grief, which is a really good one during the holidays. So check us out.
It's on Spotify
and Apple, and check us out on YouTube too.
That's what's up, man.
Nice.
Well, that's our episode for today. Thank you for joining us. We'll catch y'all next time. Also leave a comment. Let us know. Did y'all like this movie? Were you a fan? Did you dislike it? Let us know your thoughts.
Yeah, leave your scores in the comments.
And let me say one more thing. Thank y'all for having me. This was a blast,
of course,
y'all.
bro.
I hope I didn't wear out my welcome.
Nah, man, you already know you back, man. Yo, we've been trying to like definitely focus on certain like this month, right? We decided to try to watch some noir movies. Last month we focused on horror because it was Halloween. We talking about doing some February, doing some like some black films.
Y'all need to review the Mac. Y'all could quit playing with me. Y'all know we be friends. Yeah, come on, y'all.
Hey, the Mac Superfly is definitely on my list.
That's coming in February.
Yeah, there's some great movies, but yeah, man. But even before then, bro, hell yeah, we definitely love you. Have you come on through and share your thoughts on all these great movies out here.
Yeah, man, appreciate y'all.
Yes, sir.
For sure. Thanks for joining us. Peace.